This is Coffee and Conversations by Sambalatte podcast, and this is episode number 7, which is the perfection number. And today we have an honor and pleasure to have Chris Champion, who has been our guest here at Sambalatte for many, many years, far as I remember. And Chris, it is a marketing guy, a key influencer, working 100 different projects, a guy from Chicago, and someone who really knows a lot about business, and you're going to give us some great insight for all of us today. So welcome, Chris.
I can't tell you how happy I am. I consider Sambalatte one of the great entrepreneurial stories of Las Vegas.
Thank you.
I consider you one of the great entrepreneurs I've met in my lifetime.
No,
I think
I'm not.
No, you
There's
are.
so many great people.
Okay, so you're not shooting rockets into space like Elon Musk, and you haven't built anything that's a great accomplishment technology-wise. But what you are is you are the American dream. You're literally the American entrepreneurial dream. You are the dream that everybody that ever should dream about being an entrepreneur should be.
Thank you.
You're the guy that rolls up his sleeves and gets it done. You're the guy that says, if it can't be done, I'll do it. You're the guy that says, if I need to learn it, I'll read it. You're the guy that says, hey, if I need to lead, I'll lead by example. You literally have all the traits an entrepreneur should ever have. Like literally, if you were going to write a book about all the traits and qualities inside of you as a person, as a leader, as somebody that gets up and is an entrepreneur every day of his life, that would be a manual for others to follow.
One thing I can tell you, as an immigrant from Brazil, I came to America. By the way, it was 40 years, last month that I came to U.S. And I'm so thankful because the education, the things that I was able to accomplish in America, probably I could never accomplish if I still back in Brazil.
So I've traveled over 50 different countries in my lifetime. And I always tell people, if you get a chance to travel outside the United States, if you get a chance to go to Asia, if you get a chance to go to South America, which by the way, I haven't had a chance to go to South America. I went to Cartagena, which is kind of South America,
okay.
But I haven't gone to Brazil, which I've heard so many people tell me I got to go there. But
beautiful country.
Oh my God, and I mean it's a super beautiful country, and the people are very they need entrepreneurialism. They need leadership. It's a country that really needs somebody to go down there and give them a hope. Or
right.
The ability to say, hey, your life can be better than this. But when you travel outside the United States and you go see other countries and you stay there for a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever. I mean, I spent 3 months in Germany. When you travel outside the United States and then you come back here, you appreciate America. You appreciate
you really do.
The Constitution. You appreciate, even though it's not perfect, our legal system. You appreciate so much of what we have here in America, just when you see other countries. And I think that part of your success is your past. I think part of your future growth and success is where you came from. I think part of what makes you better than most is what you grew up knowing, and that is that you wanted a better life, that you wanted to work harder, you wanted to dream bigger.
I always tell the young kids, and I say, if you study, very important, work hard, get experience, you can go anywhere you want to.
You know, it's funny. My grandmother, I could tell you a story about her, but it would take too much time. But she raised me, and she raised me with an iron fist and a wooden spoon. But the one thing she pounded every day when I went to school, she said, go to school and learn whatever you want to learn. And as you grow up in life, no matter what you want to learn,
right,
there's
agree.
a book in the library, and you can read about it. There's a person you can ask about it, and there's nothing you can't learn. There's nothing you can't feed your brain that you want to learn in this world today. And she literally taught me everything about life. When I was 18, I became a commodity broker. I was literally at that point the youngest commodity broker ever in the CFTC. And I went in there and I got the job. It was an unbelievable task to get the job. But once I got the job, I was in a room full of people that had gone to college and had education and knowledge. And I was just rough and hard around the edges. One of the guys that was my mentor back then is a guy named Arthur Barbado. And he said, Chris, there's nothing in this room of guys that they know about life that you couldn't go to a bookstore on a Saturday and learn on your own. And for every Saturday, for 4 years of my life, almost religiously every Saturday, I would go to Barnes & Noble and I'd pick up a stack of books and magazines and put them on the table here. I'd grab a massive pastry and some coffee. And for at least 2 to 4 hours, I would literally take each one off at a time, and I would read what I wanted to read, learn what I wanted to learn. I didn't read them all, but I took pieces of knowledge out of each one, and I went from this pile till it was all the way over here in this pile, and then I would go and return the books. And I spent my Saturdays there to the point where they actually knew me, we got to know each other, and I learned very quickly that you can learn specific information and knowledge from a book or a magazine, and that knowledge, if that's all you want to learn, that knowledge has value. There's a book called Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Have you ever read it?
No, I haven't.
Got to read it. One of the greatest. It's, by the way, second top-selling book in the history of mankind outside of the Bible.
Wow. Okay.
Greatest book you have got. You literally have to read it. Greatest book you'll ever read as an entrepreneur. Napoleon Hill studied the greatest entrepreneurs, and that's how he wrote the book, Think and Grow Rich. And one of the things that he said was, the greatest entrepreneurs of our lifetime learned specific knowledge of a specific subject and use that specific knowledge to their advantage. And that's what entrepreneurs do, is if they want to learn, like for example, you learned about podcasts and equipment and how to do editing in Adobe, and now you're 7 podcasts deep, but you learned it because you wanted to specifically know the knowledge of how to do this.
Right.
And I literally just watched you set up an engineering rig and 2 microphones, 3 cameras. This is knowledge that you gained later in life because you specifically wanted that knowledge.
I agree.
There was nothing to stop you. It was all available to you. What you didn't know, you could go on the internet and learn, or get a book, or watch a video on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. There's so much more ways to learn nowadays.
Oh, I think one of the things that's going to come out of this crisis we're in is America 2.0. And in America 2.0, video knowledge, video distribution of information, video classes for college, video classes even for high school, it is going to be the future, and the future is now.
Okay.
That's one thing I'm sure of.
So you're talking about America 1.0 and America 2.0. Can you explain on your experience for everybody to learn and to...
So I've invested in the last 4 years of my life in over 100 companies and projects. Okay. And I look at what's happened in this crisis as a moment in time where if time was like this, like a linear line, and you said to yourself, okay, this is everything we've known about America up till here, and then here came the crisis, and now we know we've got America 2.0, which is a fork of everything.
It's a different level.
Doing. Yeah, so we're changing the rules of how America exists now. And I think America 2.0 has a lot of changes that we're going to have to live with. Just like in September 11, 2008? Or
2001.
2001.
Right.
When September 11th happened in 2001, a lot of changes happened in travel. TSA,
yes.
Scans,
Could
checks.
you go to the gate, take your friends?
Yeah, exactly. So things changed from 9/11 then. This is like our 9/11 experience now. This is going to have a major effect. I mean, look at your business. It's been changed dramatically, probably for the next couple of years until they figure out a vaccine.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of industries that are going to be changed dramatically. Airline and hotel and travel industries.
Oh, yes. They are being completely
I don't see how they're
affected.
going to not be disrupted for at least 2 years and maybe longer. And like a friend of mine, she just traveled from London to Singapore, and she put the whole video online. I can't believe traveling internationally. I can't even believe what it's going to be like. So, for example, she left London, had to get a piece of paper that said she tested there as not having COVID-19.
Right.
Got on a plane, had to wear a mask, was uncomfortable the whole time, but she flew 14, 15 hours later.
It's a long
she
flight.
lands into Singapore. She lands there. When she lands, before she gets to customs, they now have this new system where you have to show that documentation that you didn't have it on when you left. Then you get into this new section of area.
You have to be tested.
And then they test you, but the testing in Singapore takes 8 hours.
So you have to wait 8 hours in the airport.
So she had to wait. Oh, she had to wait in that area. She's not even in the airport yet. She's like in a holding cell, and literally in a box. Like they put
That's
her in this
ridiculous.
box. She can't leave. She's got a little sandwich they give her and a little apple, and for 8 hours she sits in that box. It's almost like she's individually quarantined. Everyone else has got their own little box, and then they finally came to her and said, "Okay, you're tested negative." So they give her this this orange bracelet, and it literally is impossible to take off. It's not like a bracelet you would get at a concert, but it's a very, like, for your entire time there, you can't take it off. And it basically says you're...
To prove that you test negative.
And then they make her download an app that literally contact traces everywhere she goes while she's in Singapore, probably even past Singapore. So then she has to wait 12 hours to get through customs.
Oh,
Once she's got the bracelet to prove she doesn't have COVID-19. Literally 38 hours of her life.
that's crazy.
But here's the thing. That's the new normal. That's what we're now looking at for international travel. So what's going to happen?
People are not going to travel.
People are going to travel less internationally, probably travel more domestically. So you'll see people maybe going more from like Chicago to Florida or,
California,
whatever. Mm-hmm. And here's the crazy thing too. Like we're here in Vegas, and the rules are so crazy that now they're setting up at blackjack tables these big plastic barriers between the two players and another plastic barrier between the dealer. Mm-hmm. But everyone's still playing with these chips. I mean, the most disgusting thing in a casino is casino chips.
Another thing I was telling someone the other day, if you have the plexiglass, so you're behind there. So you're there the whole time talking and watching, breathing. And now someone, if they don't clean the plexiglass right after you left, if you infect, now there is more chance for you to get because now you are so close to something they didn't have before.
Listen, the news of the coronavirus is more deadly than the coronavirus itself. The news of the coronavirus has been designed to instill fear and panic. Literally, you're starting to see home suicides, entire people just killing themselves in their home because they're not getting enough vitamin D and sunshine. They're watching CNN or the news.
Depressed.
And it literally paralyzes you with fear and panic. The two things that are killing people these days more than the coronavirus is fear and panic. Fear of, I don't know if I'm going to have a job soon. Fear of what if the government doesn't cut me another check? How am I going to pay my bills? Fear of, is my house going to be taken away from me, or is my landlord going to kick me out? We're going to see major civil unrest very soon because people, when they get scared, you can only back somebody into a corner, and eventually you back them into a corner with a rock and a hard place. They have to fight back. They have to get out. Mm-hmm. And I think we're very close to seeing that. I think civil unrest is the scariest thing. I actually thought last year, as we were looking at 2020, I actually thought that there was a possibility we would see in an election year such a divide in this country that we would see civil unrest, but I never thought it would really happen. I think now, in May of 2020, as I look through the next coming months, I think we're seeing people in many states that are literally to the point where, listen, the politicians do not have... Here's the funny thing. You look at Congress. In the last stimulus bill, they gave each congressional person, they've slid it into the bill, a $25,000 raise.
For each?
Yeah. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Crazy. Each congressperson got a $25,000 raise. Bump. Here's the other thing. They recently didn't want to go back to work. They literally, Congress did not come back when they were supposed to in April.
They did a proxy voting or something like that.
No, they just didn't come. They put off everything. For 2 weeks, Nancy Pelosi kept them from not coming back. She said it was unsafe. So it's actually funny. They paid themselves more money. Congress has not skipped a beat. They haven't missed a paycheck. Most of them are millionaires anyhow. They have the best health care. And they decide they don't want to work while the rest of America, cashiers, people working in restaurants, making food, garbage men. Like my garbage man guy, I talk to him. I go out and bring him Gatorade. I feel bad for those guys. They have to work. They had to keep doing their job. And here's Congress. The worst message you could ever show the American people is, I don't want to go do my job because I'm worried I'm going to get coronavirus. Well, hey, guess what? The whole country is in that same situation. The only difference is you're still getting a paycheck and you still have the greatest medical care money can buy. The average American is not getting a paycheck. We are looking at almost 30% of America without a job right now.
That's one of the highest that we ever have seen in our history of this country.
It's the highest. It is the highest. It's beyond the Depression. Now, the crazy thing is the Depression, people lost their jobs and we had unemployment because business was horrible. The economy was horrible. This has been self-inflicted by politicians. Politicians decided that a lockdown was going to be a way to fight this crisis. But in truth, you look at Sweden, you look at South Dakota.
I think it was Finland or Sweden, another country.
Sweden, they didn't lock down. Mm-hmm. They didn't skip a beat. Their economy's going great. They wear masks. They do social distancing. They haven't had major problems. So the lockdown, as it turns out, along with many of the statistical data, that especially from liberal colleges that we were supplied, Washington University, from a very liberal state, their initial projections were 2.2 million Americans were going to die. Wow. Turns out we're looking at 80,000. And it turns out that a lot of them were in hospice. And it turns out that all 80,000 died with COVID-19, not because of it. So what's worse, coronavirus or the fear and panic that's being sold to America while the economy is being strangled to death?
I think the fear and panic. I hear, we have been open for the whole time. We never close.
That's what I love about you.
And I was working every day except Sundays. I was taking Sunday off. Even some Sundays I have to do some errands because the volume we don't have to buy from our vendors. Major vendors have to go to Costco or Restaurant Depot to get some items. And I hear a lot of guests telling me, should we choose life versus economy? Life versus jobs or debts, because so many other people die for so many other type of diseases throughout throughout the year. How many people get murdered? How many people got from heart attack? So the biggest
diabetes, high blood pressure,
right.
Stroke.
Mm-hmm.
See, here's the funny thing that everyone forgot somewhere in the translation of all this. As human beings, we have a finite life. We're not going to live forever. Somewhere along the lines, here's another thing too. The one statistic they won't share. So I spent years doing what's called data science. And one of the things that I started realizing when I started looking at the statistics and deep diving into them is I started realizing that they were manipulating the data to create fear and panic. So you can make any data you want look scarier than it is. You can play with the numbers and make it look horrible if you want to. Here's what they never shared with anyone recently. If you look at data and you say to yourself, okay, people are dying, 80,000 people died. So that's a number. But ask yourself, how many life years did we lose? So do you know what I mean when I say life years?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So life years means that the average man lives to 74. The average woman, I think, lives, and I could be wrong about the statistic, 81. They just outlive us because, who knows, they live better, they eat better, we're just men are fatter, whatever. Mm-hmm. They just outlive us. But the average man's going to live to 74. So I'm 54. So I'm probably going to live another 20 years. So if I died of COVID-19 today.
I hope I can live into 90s.
Trust me, I'll be honest with you. I just want to live a good life. And when the end comes, trust me, we're all going, most of us are going to a better place. Right. Adam Schiff, definitely not going to heaven. But if you look at the average male that lives to 74 and you're 54 and I died today from COVID-19, I will have counted as 20 years of lost life. Well, if the average person that was dying of COVID-19 was 80.5 years, which is the statistic, if
80.5.
they're 80.5 and let's say they're a man, well, they've already lived past their life expectancy. So the amount of life years that were lost was 0. If you're 80 and a half years old and you're a man and your life expectancy is 74, you're already 6+ years past that. If you died that next day, you are 6 years ahead of your life expectancy. So your life years lost is 0. You didn't lose any real living years. Plus, to be honest with you, at 80 and a half years old, half your equipment is going out, bad kidney, high blood pressure.
Like an old car.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're going into the driveway at night and
It's a leaking oil.
yeah, you're just like, you're barely lucky you can turn the car on in the morning. Right. I mean, at 80 and a half years old, I know friends that are old and they have a hard time getting everything started. They need a cup of coffee just to get their system going in the morning. Right. So if you think about that, we're not losing a lot of life years. This virus is not attacking children. It's not attacking teenagers. And here's the funny thing. It's actually attacking less people than the flu does under the age of 45. So why does locking down the economy, locking people down in their homes, why does that even have to happen? Why not just let everyone under the age of 45 go to work, live their lives, and the people that are susceptible, if they want to stay at home, go ahead. That's your prerogative. But what's the benefit of locking down and crushing the economy? There is none. They're starting to realizing that all the experts, every single one of them, has been wrong. Now, in baseball, if you strike out 32 times in a row, eventually the manager says, buddy, you're going to sit down for a while. And that's what we need to start doing is we need to start looking at all the statistical data that was created by all these experts. And since they've been wrong almost 100%, no, not 2.2 million people died. No, this wasn't as the mortality rate they were talking was 2 to 5%. It's less than a fraction of 1%.
But you know what they have been doing in the graphic, right? Like an example, there's a line here. So it is go like this. So you cut the graphic here, and now you show only this because shows a sharp curve.
Sure.
Because the values are much less than was here before.
That's what I was telling you is the data can be manipulated to look fearful and panicky. Here's the other thing. They talk about
I saw many of those data from Brazil, which in videos showing the numbers and they proving how the data was falsified.
Oh, yeah.
Just to create fear.
Here's the funny thing. Why would you pass a stimulus package, which they did, where you pay hospitals $39,000 for a COVID-19 death and you pay them $10,000 for a regular death? You've incentivized the hospitals who are now hemorrhaging cash to begin with to the tune of $29,000 to do whatever you can to make sure that somebody died of COVID-19 because it ultimately helps you pay your bills. That was the stupidest thing in the world because now anytime you have data, you have to make sure that the data is clean data. Otherwise, you can't make decisions off of it. So if you give people an incentive to make the data inaccurate, you now have a ripple effect of bad information.
I see. Okay, so going along here, we're talking about many different things and entrepreneurship. So you're talking about the 2.0, and I wanted to talk about a little bit more how is going to be the future of the business, as in your opinion, as you work with so many different companies and you trademark on the how they call the Wall Street market, and how is going to be the future? Because recently you told me that last year about 1,200 CEOs resigned in 2019, right?
In the last 12 months,
12 months.
We saw the greatest exodus of publicly traded CEOs stepping down than we've ever seen in the history of America.
That's remarkable.
Now, it wasn't like the greatest by a little bit. It was the greatest by hundreds. Now, even companies like Disney, the CEO in March stepped down. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody talked about it. Just said, hey, I need to step down. But I'm talking 1,200 CEOs of publicly traded companies deciding to step down. And by the way, over the last 3 years, we've seen an artificial high stock market propelled by stock buybacks. And when a company does a stock buyback, what they're basically doing is they're pushing their stock up because they're taking cash. And instead of distributing it as a dividend, they're buying their stock back, making less of it available to the market.
So they have more liquid.
They have less cash in the bank, but they have more stock.
Okay, I see.
They have less stock, so therefore the value of the stock goes up. So their company's market cap, they can borrow money because the company's worth more now. But what happens is when you artificially push the price of the stock up, you trigger bonuses for the CEOs. We were talking earlier. Does a CEO really deserve $280 million like the AT&T CEO? Do CEOs deserve $60 or $80 million? Are they that much more valuable than an employee? Probably
if
not.
You're the owner or the founder of the company and you invest all your life, but CEOs, what's the average CEO in a company? Do you know?
What do you mean average?
How many years a CEO stay in a company? 8 years?
I would say it's like, I was going to say 3 to 5 years, but I could probably look that up. But yeah, these guys are, they come from one company to another. They're professional CEOs. And the funny thing is, they get paid 3,000 times what the average employee in the company gets paid. So are they 3,000 times more valuable? I don't think so.
No.
But here's the crazy thing. They make sure the board gets paid, so the board approves their pay. The board approves their pay, gives them bonuses to pump up the stock. Well, guess what? The board wants the stock pumped up because they have stock options, and those stock options only click in and become valuable when the stock gets pushed up. It's literally the way Wall Street steals from the average American investor and the average employee of a publicly traded company. It is a system that is corrupt to its core and needs a major overhaul and change. It has to change. It is part of the problem from the collapse in 2008. It is part of the problem that we're experiencing now. By the way,
10 years almost.
More
than 10 years.
In the last 2 months, what the U.S. government has done to just print money is going to be a lasting effect that will probably last 100 years, but be a strong effect in the next 10 years. Think about this for a second. The governor of Nevada, Sisolak, is right now talking about doubling and tripling real estate taxes.
Ooh.
Think about that. He's talking about doubling and tripling real estate taxes because he decided to shut down and lock down the state and take away the greatest revenue that the state generates, which is
the gaming,
casino and gaming tax dollars. Imagine what starts to happen to real estate values in Nevada when that happens. It's already looking horrible. You're seeing property values drop by $25,000 to $50,000. You add 3 to 2x real estate taxes to that, and that's not just Nevada. You're going to see many states that are literally bankrupt. Illinois, New York City, California. You're going to see them have to look.
Nevada declared fiscal emergency, I think, was
just
yesterday.
a couple days ago. Yeah,
a couple days ago.
Here's the funny. The reason why they're claiming a fiscal emergency right now is along with Colorado, Washington State, California, Nevada, and Oregon, as 5 states, they want the government, the federal government, who's bankrupt anyhow, that piggy bank is empty anyhow, to give $1 trillion just to those 5 states. Now, people are tossing the word $1 trillion around like it was nothing.
That's a loss of zeros.
Just so we're clear, $1 trillion is $1,000 billion, and $1 billion is $1,000 million.
Thousands of thousands.
So if you really think about it, when we talk about $1 trillion, that's a lot of money. But all of a sudden, people hear it so often, like
that's no big deal.
Up until this year, we hadn't even heard anybody talk about $1 trillion stimulus, anything. I mean, a couple $100 billion was like a big number. We've issued $7 trillion worth of monetary policy in the last 60 days. That's 1/4 of all the GDP, gross domestic production, of America.
Wow.
Now, here's the funny thing. People don't understand this. You can print all the dollars you want digitally. That's what the government does. They just print it. They go into a computer and they say, issue $7 trillion, and a company in Pennsylvania prints the actual paper dollars. They start printing them. They literally print all day long and night. You can do that. But if there's no value behind that paper that you just created out of thin air, if there's nothing backing it, and sure, we've got the greatest military in the world, don't mess with us, blah, blah, blah. If there's nothing backing it, eventually you see things cost more money. Have you noticed lately at the grocery store? Eggs.
Cost of goods going up.
Eggs, meat, bread, cereal.
Because the producers are producing less.
Not only that, but the value of the dollar is getting less.
Created more people eating at home.
More people eating at home, but the value of everything is going to go up because the dollar is all of a sudden worth less. Okay. You know, pretty soon you'll see, and the luckiest thing that's happened throughout this crisis is the oil producers went crazy. There's literally oil tankers floating around right now in the ocean with nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go, yeah.
They're just like literally keeping them out there in the ocean. They don't know what to do with these guys. The funny thing is, why are these oil tankers out there? Planes are not flying as much as they used to. Cars and trucks aren't driving as much as they used to. Guess what? Planes were a big consumer of oil, of gas.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And if that's not happening, well, now we're very lucky, because if oil was up right now, you would see, and we will probably see this in the next year, the value of the dollar is going to go down because we've literally flooded the marketplace with U.S. dollars. As the value of the dollar goes down, hard, tangible commodity items, food, gold, silver, Bitcoin, are going to go up in value significantly. Mm-hmm. This monetary policy that we've seen recently by both Democrats and Republicans is god-awful horrific. And like Trump says, and this is very, very key, if we don't get the economy started every single day that the economy doesn't get started in states, every single day, we lose more small businesses, more jobs, and more potential tax dollars. And the longer it takes to get the economy moving again in the right direction, the worse it will be as we go into the end of this year and the beginning of next year.
So you said as well earlier that Harvard just put a study about how many small businesses. Oh, my God.
Over 100,000 small businesses will not come back out of this crisis. They are closed for good. And by the way, that number, 100% is low. That number, the real number in that space is significantly higher. I don't think we'll know the real number for months to come, but I can't tell you how many friends and people I talk to that had small businesses that will not survive, that will not come back.
Because during the beginning of the crisis, I was reading about they predict about 30% of the restaurant of small business, they'll never be able to come back.
I think that number is probably 50 to 60%.
But
I know so many restaurant owners that they're dead in the water. They can't even open right now, even if the state opened up and let them open up.
50% is not feasible for operations. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. You can't get your employees back. Like a friend of mine owns a restaurant in Chicago, Fireplace Inn, great ribs. Go check them out. He literally can't get all of his employees to come back because with unemployment, say $400 a week, and the $600 on top of that, they're getting $1,000 a week to play Xbox. Well, I mean, come on. And that doesn't run out till July 31st. And now Nancy Pelosi pulls a bill on the table that says, hey, let's give them $2,000 a month. Mm-hmm. Let's give them more money. People are crazy if they think that money, you just keep printing it and all of a sudden it still buys the same things.
Right.
And the more they do this to the economy, we're basically borrowing from our future to create the greatest amount of wealth disparity has happened in the last 2 months. The poor have gotten poorer, the middle class has gotten poorer, the small business owner has gotten destroyed. The rich have gotten significantly richer. People like Jeff Bezos. Amazon has literally grown leaps and bounds. Over $1 trillion company today. The first American company to be over $1 trillion in market cap. Amazon and Jeff Bezos have grown significantly, and their growth has come at the expense of small businesses. Think about this for a second. They say you can't run your small business in states like Nevada and Chicago, but they let Walmart, Home Depot, all these big businesses run.
Big boxes.
Yeah. I mean, does the cashier at Home Depot have some sort of bubble around her where she's not going to be infected as much as the small business cashier? No. So what you're doing now is you're taking big business, big corporations, and you're making them wealthier, and you're crushing, literally crushing the small business.
That's sad.
And, well, it's beyond sad. It's criminal. Think about this for a second. That small business owner, those 100,000 small business owners that will never come back, they have leases that they're going to have to deal with from landlords. Their personal guarantees. They have loans from the banks. Not only are you
All the old money to the vendors.
the vendors, so not only are their businesses gone and their employees no longer have a job, but their lives are most likely ruined. They're now financially in a position where they literally owe more than what they have in most cases, and that debt is going to affect their lives, their children's lives, so on and so forth. So when you destroy a small business, when you destroy a large number of small business, you probably destroy 20x the number of personal lives. Everything from the owner of the business to the investors in that business to the families behind those business and to the families of the people that were involved in that
in the business, yeah.
Exactly. So for every 100,000 businesses that are destroyed, never to come back from those small business ranks, you literally see 20x that of the number of lives that have been devastated. Well, that's 2 million lives. Imagine 2 million people who have their lives devastated. That's what this crisis, that's the worst part of this crisis. Not the disease COVID-19, not the virus, but the economic virus, as I call it. I call it the economic virus because what we're seeing that the news and the media and some people in power are telling us that this virus is going to kill you. Well, we're all going to die anyhow. But is the virus really going to kill people that are healthy? No, it's affecting people that have. Did you know that 90% of the people that have died from COVID-19 had a history of smoking?
No.
So if you smoke for 30 years a pack of cigarettes and you got COVID-19, did COVID-19 kill you? Or did this 30 years of cigarettes kill you? People have to understand we are finite beings. We're not going to live forever. We're not meant to live forever. This disease, this virus, the real virus is the economic attack, not the physical attack. The real virus is if you watch and follow the money. I always say, you want to find the truth to something, follow the money. Look at people like Jeff Bezos. He bought the Washington Post so he could control the news and the narrative. He has donated to hundreds and hundreds of liberal Democratic leaders so he could control the narrative. How come his business is succeeding and growing and booming so well, Amazon, when small businesses are being crushed? Why did he buy Whole Foods out of the blue, just out of the blue, right before this crisis, when he knew food delivery and food service was going to be mission critical?
Wow.
How do people get information at such a high level, months and years in advance? How did Ray Dalio decide to short the S&P 500 at near its all-time high in November with $1.5 billion on April puts? April puts. It's almost as if he was the greatest investor of all time. It's almost as if he had a crystal ball and saw into the future. It's almost like he got the memo. Let's think about what America 2.0 looks like versus America 1.0, because America will rebound from this. In fact, there will be great entrepreneurs like yourself that will deal with this, move on, and grow from this. I believe that digital information, digital content, just like coffee, just like pastries is a product that you sell, businesses like yours are going to get into the digital content business. People are not going to Starbucks as much as they used to. In fact, Starbucks announced the other day that they were seeing 3% of the foot traffic they used to see, which means that they saw 100 people a day. They're now seeing 3 people a day, which is shocking. Now, that's obviously because they're just now opening up, and I'm sure that number is going to go up. But I also think that when people are locked down for 60 days, they probably made some coffee at home and said, add a little cream, add some sugar, add some flavor. Hey, I'm getting good at this whole coffee making thing. So now people are saying, why am I going to Starbucks? I can do this myself. What's another thing that's happening that's going to be a part of America 2.0 is you're going to see less and less commercial offices. In fact, Twitter just announced that all their employees, for their lifetime if they want to, can work from home. They never have to come back to
Google
an office.
Send everybody home until the end of the year as well. As we're talking about digitized coffee, and you have this vision how people going to have a behavior change, how they're going to drink the coffee, because they're probably going to choose to drink at home instead go in a coffee shop. However, you still have to socialize.
So I agree with that, but I also think that for the business that you're going to lose from people not walking in as much as they used to, you have to offset that, and you have to sell digital content. Almost every business has to.
Right.
And one of the things
We have done several videos about how to make coffee process at home. Matter of fact, today I was telling Cedric, and I said, I want to do you talking about all the process, because we already have the content, the B-roll, so all we can do just edit.
exactly.
And he's talk about the can showing people so they can choose their preference to make a home.
So think about this. Let's say you start a master class and you sell it for $50 online.
Mm-hmm.
And now people can take that master class and learn all these tips and tricks on how to make the perfect cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
We already know that offices are going to be less office and more work from home. People are going to start setting up and buying office chairs, office desks, and working from their home as a long-term play.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're working from home, you probably are going to spend some more money and upgrade your coffee maker.
Your
So-
coffee machine.
Coffee maker. Maybe they'll even get some coffee stuff that they've always dreamed about making, which is the pour-over coffee equipment. So now as a business owner, you have to change in America 2.0 from what America 1.0 was. You have to say to yourself, okay, I sell muffins right here because people can come in and get a muffin. I sell coffee here because people can come in and get coffee. But for the traffic that I'm going to lose in America 2.0, I need to be able to reach people at their home. I need to be able to sell them digital content that I have that only I know how to make.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to make that content valuable for them. And if they spend $50 in buying digital content, maybe my suppliers give them $50 worth of coupons to buy a new coffee maker or a coffee drip glass or equipment that allows them to have all the tools they need to make a great cup of coffee at home.
Okay. One thing, I don't know if you remember the pouch that you suggest while
The
last.
pour over pouch? Yeah.
Yes. The company, they reach out to us, and we send them over 20 pounds, and they're going to do 500 sample for us.
That's awesome.
And we're doing the summers then, because I believe.
Now, here's the interesting. That pouch now allows you to ship over great coffee that can be easily made at home in a pour-over hot
all
water.
we need is hot water. You can go anywhere.
Exactly.
Not only that, the paper, everything they use, everything's biodegradable. So if you go camping, you can leave. In any case, if you leave outside, with the time, will decompose the paper and everything. And
Oh yeah, the dead coffee beans too will add nitrogen.
good,
to
yeah.
It's good for the earth.
So I think the pouch is going to be a huge niche in the future of the coffee, because you can drink the coffee that you want anywhere you are. All we need is just hot water to do it, and very clean, very easy to make.
Awesome. So think about this for a second. You've got that as a way to reach people outside of your four walls. As an entrepreneur in America 2.0, you have to start saying to yourself, how do I capitalize? How do I monetize people outside of my four walls? Because I'm going to lose foot traffic in America 2.0. That's a fact of life. You're going to lose 25 to 30% of your foot traffic. So you have to increase your ability to generate revenue in your outside four walls by 25 to 30% to offset that. And if you increase it by 50 or 100%, now you're more profitable. Now your business is better.
Right.
So everything from...
Because you have less overhead.
Exactly. Everything from ceramic mugs to equipment that allows people to make a perfect cup of coffee. And that's the thing, too. If you're going to give people digital content, give them content that allows them to make the perfect cup of coffee. Because guess what? Keurig lets me make an average cup of coffee, but I promise you this. The coffee I drink here at Sambalatte, I promise you, it is better than the coffee I make out of my Keurig at home. 100% better.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's the difference? The difference is you're masters at making the perfect cup of coffee.
Yeah, we did the Coffee Authority Summit right before this, back in February.
What did you do? What was it called?
Coffee Authority, a Coffee Authority Summit.
Oh, Coffee Authority.
Yes.
Where was it? Here?
Yeah, we did on this table here.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we have a different coffee. And
So you have to say to yourself, do you now give that education away for free? Or do you sell it as a masterclass so that you can ultimately have your business thrive in America 2.0 and not just survive?
because involve cost, preparation, product, labor, we're going to have to charge.
Well, not only that, but the digital content is worth something to you. And here's the amazing thing.
The digital content we have out, on the YouTube for anybody to watch.
I know,
There
but
is so many contents out there.
You're
as
giving
well.
that away for free. In America 2.0, you need to start selling masterclasses. You need to start giving people the ability to have that perfect cup of coffee at home, but you've got to be able to monetize that, because if you give it away for free on YouTube and you lose 30% of your foot traffic, now you're risking having your business hurt. Whereas you can offset that loss in foot traffic by giving people masterclasses. And then maybe those masterclasses, you give them digital coupons to bring them back through the door, but you also realize that now I can reach people and monetize my content in California, Chicago, New York.
We have the Sambalatte Coffee Club, which we have people in Florida, in Texas, in Michigan, California, Nevada, and Louisiana as well.
How many people are in the club?
Not a lot. We haven't pushed much because
50, 100, 200?
we're a little over 50.
Yeah, so imagine if that club grew to 1,000 people. Imagine if that club paid $25 for a masterclass on how to brew the perfect cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. Imagine that $25,000 coming into the business.
But I think now I was talking to Cedric the other day, I think now there's an opportunity for us to push the coffee club, because as people buy our coffee, receive it home in the convenience of your doorsteps.
So what is the club? You get like a certain amount of coffee
We
every
charge
month?
$19.99, include shipping, and every month we ship your coffee. This month,
Is it
last
like
month
a
we
pound
did call
or
Boca
8
J-
ounces?
Yeah, about 12 ounces
12 ounces? So you
Yes.
get 12 ounces of coffee, and it's different coffee every month.
every month. Yes, different unique blend that we do. Last month we did the call Boca Java, which was a blend of a Sumatra in Brazil, Fazenda Caxambu, which is one of the big apartments that we have on the coffee.
That's awesome.
Amazing coffee. Everybody that try really love the coffee because have the acidity from the Sumatra, but have the balance from the Brazil, the chocolate, the cedar, the wood. Incredible flavor. Beautiful coffee.
That's awesome. So you've got 50 people in that club. We now have to figure out, how do you reach 1,000 or 10,000 people? Because after a while, once you get to 10,000 people, that becomes a business of its own. That becomes
Right.
something that offsets the loss of business in America 2.0. See, America 2.0 is two things. It's what Amazon's capitalizing on right now, which is home delivery, and it's the selling of digital content. And if you can do those two things, which every business can, you can literally thrive and not just survive. And that's what it's got to be about. You've got to find ways to be better than you were in America 1.0 and to reach more customers outside your four walls.
I completely agree, because right now, every day, I think how I'm going to improve my operations, knowing that how I'm going to create new ideas to capitalize, because the world has changed so much. I mean, sometimes I wake up in the morning and say, I cannot believe how much change you had yesterday, in the past 8 weeks, 9 weeks. All this, how things shift, and how we're going to be able to penetrate on those market share to capitalize business so you can stay alive. Because
See, that's the thing, though. You've got to change your mindset a little bit and say to yourself, I don't want to stay alive. I don't want to survive. I want to thrive. And here's the thing. Amazon and all these big brands, even, for example, in your vertical, Starbucks, they're going to create a bigger distance between big companies and small companies. And as that distance starts getting bigger, small to medium-sized businesses are getting crushed. And the way you can compete...
it can compete.
But the way you can compete is through digitized content, being able to sell content outside your four walls through digital delivery. And number two, home delivery. Home delivery is going to be the biggest thing in America 2.0. And you've got to be able to say, I want to deliver more than just coffee. Can I deliver coffee? For example, let me give you a great example. You've been to Red Lobster before, right?
Yes.
Do you know that one of their biggest product launches in the last 5 to 10 years has been, when you go to Red Lobster and you have those little cheesy biscuits they make?
Yeah.
How good are those things?
Fairly good.
Very good. It's like people go crazy over them. So what they did was they put the ingredients in a box for their cheesy biscuits and started selling that.
To the public, so you can get to your house in the supermarket.
Exactly. So now people are making Red Lobster biscuits at home in their own oven. And guess what? That is one of the most profitable verticals for Red Lobster in the last 5 to 10 years. Super profitable. So you have to say to yourself, what else can I send to somebody's home other than coffee? I see you got chocolates down the stairs. You can send that with a cup. Hey, maybe for $25 on the club, you get a piece of chocolate from a different part of the world. And people love chocolate and coffee.
Right, I agree.
Well, so now you got chocolate. Now you got coffee. What else is a morning time treat that people like? Cheese.
Cheese.
People love cheese. So maybe you figure out a way to send unique cheeses to your coffee club members. Now you have to say to yourself, what are all the things that happen at breakfast around coffee? What are all the things that happen around coffee? Mugs. Maybe there's motivational mugs that you send out that say Sambalatte on there. Now people buy mugs. They buy the coffee makers. You have to start realizing, what does home delivery look like, and how can I capitalize on that home delivery, and how can I increase my brand and my brand awareness into people's homes? How can something be sitting in somebody's home that says Sambalatte? Well, guess what? A mug is in their home every day that says Sambalatte. And guess what? It reminds them of that great, perfect cup of coffee. And that's what you've got to do. In America 2.0, the companies that will thrive, the companies that will do well, are the ones that figure out two things. Home delivery, how can I ship my product to your home and make it something that you buy and want to buy? And two, digital content. How can I sell you something digitally that teaches you something of value, makes you feel like you got great value?
That's very interesting suggestion, which I think I agree with you that how we were talking about Uber, DoorDash, all those companies now, how they are thriving because everybody getting food delivered to their house.
You know, it's funny. You bring that up. I've got to show you this.
The charge is ridiculous.
Wait, I got to show you this.
About 36%.
So nobody's going to see this on my phone, but I want you to. I want your reaction to this because a friend of mine uses Grubhub and Uber Eats and all that stuff, and he showed me the invoice or the statement from his Grubhub bill for April. And when I show you this, yep, here it is. I just want your reaction. I want you to look at that, and I just want your reaction because you have an insight to this.
No, it is. They're taking away all your profit.
Tell everyone what you're looking at.
They sold $1,042, and they're getting back $376.
And where's the rest of the money go to?
They take
Who's they? Grubhub.
Grubhub, yeah, with the fees and
Think about
marketing. Yes. It's
All the fees, all the marketing, transaction. Here,
They are. I call them predators because they
they're
are.
predators.
They are taking advantage. The business are
46
failing.
prepaid orders, $1,042.63. Commission, $206. Delivery commission, $94. Like, delivery commission? They got multiple commissions. Processing fee, $38. Promotions, $231. 7 order adjustments. Commission again of $975. By the time it's all said and done, his business on 46 orders got $376 of the $1,042. Now, here's the crazy thing.
Doesn't
Grubhub,
pay your labor. Doesn't pay your.
here's the crazy thing.
You lose money.
Well, here's the crazy thing. Grubhub marks up all his menu prices by 30% anyhow. So what you see on Grubhub and what you pay for them, you're paying a higher price than if you walked in and took carryout. So he's literally getting his customers angry.
On the both ends.
Yeah, his customers are angry because they see prices higher than what they would see on the normal menu, and Grubhub is raping him, keeping
It's
70%
sad, very
of the
sad.
money.
I personally, I never use any food delivery like those company, and I refuse because I knew about that.
It's
And
unsustainable.
unsustainable. They call me and send me an email all the time. And one time I told this lady, I said, "You're a predator."
You are. When you said it just like that, I thought of like the Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Remember the movie Predator?
I don't want to deal with you guys. I don't need it. I'll close my doors before I make any deal with you guys.
It's insane. But you think about this for a second. You say to yourself, okay, that's delivery to the home. That's food delivery to the home. How do you get the stuff delivered to the home that you can ship and profitably get to their home? You can do coffee. You can do chocolate. You can do cheese. There's probably 10 other things that you can do.
The mugs.
The mugs. You have to find a way to get inside of people's homes because guess what? Commercial real estate is dead in America 2.0. Working from home is the future of America 2.0. Making a great cup of coffee in your home is the future of 2.0.
I agree.
And these are things that every business owner has to start thinking to themselves. Otherwise, in America 2.0, if you keep thinking that you're going to operate the way you did in America 1.0, that is already gone. It's never coming back. The way we operated before this crisis and the way we're going to operate after this crisis, it is going to be night and day different. You see in the store here, you got little marks on the floor, which tells
social
people,
distance.
Yeah, people how far away they should be from each other. Those marks are never going away. You're going to see those marks everywhere. You go to a store now, like Sam's Club. They got these designer marks now. You step on the circle. I saw a little kid playing hopscotch, jumping up and down in the circles. But those things are permanently there. They got those stickers there for a long time. They're not going away. So social distancing is not going away. Business as we know it is changed. And you have to adapt to it. And the two things that are going to be different in America 2.0 is digital content that you sell and generate revenue from and home delivery. And you have to say to yourself, how can I deliver things to the home that my customers and customers that don't know about me yet would love to get?
Okay. Yeah, but as soon as we normalize, we're going to do another class. And we're going to advertise. And you're going to help us out as well to push with your people.
Here's the reason why I'm going to help you out. We desperately need entrepreneurs like you to survive and thrive in the new America.
Hey, man.
We desperately need companies like Sambalatte to grow in America 2.0. We desperately cannot watch the disparity of wealth go to the big companies and crush the small businesses. You talked about those 100,000 businesses that'll never come back. Inside those 100,000 businesses, we're probably some great entrepreneurs. I think we've covered a lot, and I hope that this
I really appreciate you coming over here, take your time to talk about because
I love it.
I think we went very deep into many things that it is out there, and many of people sometimes are afraid to talk or to discuss. And as a business owner, sometimes I have to be very careful.
Well, here's the thing. I can say
well.
these things, and you can let me say these things, but here's what we have to do. As entrepreneurs, as you being an entrepreneur, you have to lead people with hope. Because right now, people have been sold fear and panic, and the real entrepreneurs of America are going to lead with hope. They're the ones that are going to say, listen, this is how we're going to thrive in America 2.0. This is how every business can get up and move forward. Because right now, most Americans don't have an idea of how they're going to move forward. Most Americans may not even have a job. 30% of America right now doesn't have a job. Right. So they need to be led with hope. Businesses.
I am a person. I am always very positive, very optimistic, a lot of faith, and really always thinking great things, because I think if we start thinking about tomorrow, how going to be next year, I mean, you bring all the negative towards yourself. And I think you always have to dream. And I'm a dreamer, and I'm going to continue to dream. How am I going to take my business now on the 2.0? How am I going to digitize? How am I going to thrive, like you said, and be like our company is going to separate the bigger ones, and they're going to crush the small business. I tell you all the time, I am a lion. and a lion fights.
It's funny. I wrote a study almost 7 years ago about how lions. It was called Roar, and I studied how lions and successful individuals, whether they be in sports or business or anything, lions and successful individuals, every one of them have a similar quality. And the main quality that a lion has is he hunts every single day. Granted, it's the female lion that hunts every day,
Right.
but a lion hunts every day.
And the thing about lion, he can go days without drinking water, but he cannot go one single day without eating. And right before this cries, I told my guys, get ready, we are in the jungle. And I said, I have been in the jungle, in the Amazon jungle. And I said, do you know who survive in the jungle? Predators. Do you know who the biggest predator in the jungle? The lion. And you know the lion it is the jungle? He's the king. You know when the lion dies? Only if a coward hunter shot him. Unless he'll die 13, 15 years. That's his lifespan. And you know what happens when a lion dies? Before he dies, all the other lions surround him, celebrating his life.
That's the amazing thing, too, because lions are the strongest animal in the jungle. But they carry themselves with a herd, a pack of other strong lions. Same thing with entrepreneurs. Great entrepreneurs, that's why they're a treasure in America. Great ones, they have a surrounding of influencers. They have a surrounding of mentors. They have a surrounding of other entrepreneurs that make them better. And at the same time, they make others around themselves better, whether it's their employees or friends or even a customer. Like I've seen throughout the years how you handle yourself as an entrepreneur, and I've always known you were one of the great ones. I've always known it.
Another thing about the lion, when they roar, is the loudest and the most powerful in the jungle. And when the lion is around, everybody runs away. A couple more things about the lion. At night, there is no other animal in the jungle that have a sharp eye like a laser at night to see things. A lion can wait hours and hours for a prey quiet. And the lion can sprint from 0 to 70 miles in seconds. And the
They
jaws
are the biggest and the best.
and the jaws of the lion has the most powerful, with the pressure to hold the prey and not to let him go.
I agree. So listen, this has been a great time.
Thanks for coming.
I am so
appreciate
glad we made this time. We're going to do this again.
Yes.
But underneath this podcast, underneath this cast, there's going to be a link. And we're going to unveil your first master class, which gives people the ability to figure out and learn how to make a perfect cup of coffee at home. Their
agree.
new home office.
We're going to do that.
And we're going to sell that master class because we're going to generate revenue to
Correct.
allow Sambalatte to be a great business in America 2.0. And customers are going to support us through that digital content. We're now going to filter into their home that they can literally watch and learn professionals make a perfect cup of coffee while they do it at home. And then we're going to give them the ability to have all the tools in that masterclass, pay for the course itself through discounts from providers that we work with.
Great. So thanks for coming. I really appreciate your time and all the insights from America 2.0. Some of the stuff I have read, sometimes I understand, but a lot of things I learned a lot from you today and understand your so many different views and insights that I believe all of us are going to learn and everything. So much appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. This was Coffee and Conversations, podcast by Sambalatte, episode number 7. Thank you.
Lucky number 7.
Yeah. Okay, man.
Super good, man.
Thanks for watching Coffee and Conversation, a podcast by Sambalatte. Please subscribe below to our channel so we can be alert to the future podcast that we're going to have. Thank you.